Happy Halloween, everyone! Tonight we get an extra hour, and it also marks a full moon on Halloween. So that got me thinking about an underrated remake from 10 years ago called The Wolfman. Here we go. The Wolfman came out in 2010, and it was long before the Dark Universe. You didn't have the Tom Cruise Mummy, you did not have Dracula Untold. In many ways, The Wolfman reminds me of The Invisible Man, which was released earlier this year, a standalone R-rated film that's not watered down, not catered to kids, it's just a good old-fashioned horror flick. The Wolfman, of course, stars Benicio del Toro as Lawrence Talbot. Del Toro is a huge fan of The Wolfman, and he was tied to this project from its inception. You also have Emily Blunt as Gwen Conliffe, Anthony Hopkins as Sir John Talbot, and Hugo Weaving as Aberline. The film is directed by Joe Johnston, who of course directed Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Jumanji, Pagemaster, and Jurassic Park 3. The Wolfman also marks his first R-rated film. As many of you may know, this is a remake of the 1941 film starring Lon Chaney Jr. as Larry Talbot. Crazy enough, The Wolfman was actually shot in 2008, but not released until 2010. I love this film. I went to go see this on my birthday in 2010, and this is an underrated horror film and an underrated remake in the age of remakes and reboots. This was ahead of the curve. And what I love about it is its dark nature. It's very close to the original film, while also changing just enough things. You know, I really love Benicio del Toro in this. The makeup is amazing. Rick Baker actually did the makeup for this film. He also did the makeup for An American Werewolf in London. So you could say he's no stranger to American Werewolves in London. The makeup won an Academy Award for Best Makeup, and the appliances took about 3 hours to place on Benicio del Toro and an hour to take off. And you can tell they used some CGI here because of time purposes, but the stuff that is done with practical makeup shows and just looks phenomenal. Going on the dark themes, Danny Elfman also did the music for this, and he was inspired by Bram Stoker's Dracula score. It's crazy because Anthony Hopkins was Van Helsing in that. He plays the Wolfman's father here. And it's one of those things where it does feel like Bram Stoker's Dracula. As a matter of fact, the Wolfman is the Bram Stoker's Dracula of werewolf films. It really is. Now, it isn't without its issues, but overall, it is an enjoyable remake. The Wolfman centers around a man named Lawrence Talbot, who is an American actor that returns home to London when his brother goes missing. Upon his return, he reunites with his estranged father and discovers his brother met a terrible fate. Searching for answers regarding the brutal murder of his brother, Lawrence is aided by his brother's fiancée, Gwen. But a terrible fate awaits Lawrence as he is cursed. In dealing with this new curse of the night, Lawrence discovers shocking revelations from his childhood. And I love the story, but this film isn't without its issues. Is it a perfect movie? Is it the best that it could have been? No. There's actually an unrated version that I have not seen that adds a bit more. But the stuff that is there is, again, very close to the original, while also just changing enough and making it something brand new on its own. I love seeing the gypsies. I love how Lawrence finds out his brother was brutally murdered, how he ends up getting the curse of the wolf, and how he deals with this new curse, and ultimately the relationship between Gwen and his father, and how this new curse affects that. But also, he ends up having repressed memories. His mother died at a young age, and his father basically cast him out of the country. He ended up going to live in America. So he gets to return to his homeland, and there's a lot of baggage there that we get to learn, a lot of psychological stuff that we get to learn in this film. There's plenty of scares that don't involve werewolves in this movie. And Lawrence is a conflicted, kind of dark character who must basically live with this curse and his dark fate. Aberline, played by Hugo Weaving's good. I like him as the inspector, but also somebody that knows he's going to become this type of creature, you know. That's very interesting. In many ways, he's like a Sherlock Holmes character meets Van Helsing. Gwen, this is one of the earliest films I saw Emily Blunt in, and she does an amazing job in this. I like her in this movie. She wants to figure out what happened to her fiancé. She's meeting her fiancé's brother for the first time, so that's a good relationship there. And when they do realize what's going on with the full moon and him becoming a werewolf, the film really kicks into high gear. People start hunting him down. There's that famous scene in the trailer where she's like, "I will kill all of you." That scene is even better in the movie. I love the howls, the effects, The story is a bit disjointed, but ultimately it does have a surprising twist with a great third act. That third act is incredible. Again, Anthony Hopkins, whether he's playing a hero, a regular man, a supporting role, or a flat-out villain, he's going to deliver. And Anthony Hopkins gives 110% here. He makes this film along with Benicio del Toro. And I love the story and revelations and ultimately the kind of tragedy the Wolfman shows with Lawrence Talbot as a character, whether it's in his past, present, or future. This is a very underrated movie, and I have to say, Universal needs to stick to doing these type of remakes. This film's finally getting some more love, but after Dracula Untold and The Mummy, I think this film's finally getting more appreciation, especially after The Invisible Man, which pretty much did what this film did, make a standalone R-rated film. And that's what I love about this. They didn't make it for the kids. This is like an R-rated remake, and Universal is famous for its horror icons. The Wolfman is a classic with Lon Chaney Jr., and Benicio del Toro really goes into his own. I mean, he looks like a werewolf. He plays it perfectly. And I just wanted to bring it to everyone's attention. You know about the Wolfman. For those who haven't seen the original or this one, check it out, especially if you're a fan of werewolf films. We haven't had enough werewolf films in cinema. You know, other than this, I like American Werewolf in London, Silver Bullet, The Howling, Dog Soldiers, Ginger Snaps, but this is one of the most underrated Universal remakes. And probably my favorite with this, Invisible Man, and then The Mummy with Brendan Fraser. Those are probably my favorite remakes that stay true to the original, but also do just enough to make it stand on its own without insulting or disgracing everything that came before. And I think Universal, with this and The Invisible Man, could learn a great deal of how to move their dark universe further. I mean, they did it in the 30s and 40s. They can do it again. Overall, The Wolfman is a great film to watch on Halloween and during a full moon. So feel free. Down in the comments below, have you seen The Wolfman? Let me know your thoughts on this film. Do you like the original? Do you like the remake? Let me know your favorite werewolf film. Feel free to subscribe for more videos and check out these other videos for more content. The Wolfman definitely does make the final cut, and I give it an A and a 4 out of 5. You can also follow me at Fred Film Fanatic on the Stardust app and Instagram at Fred Film Fanatic. Till next time, everyone, I hope you have a happy Halloween.